Yes, people, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. We managed to do it somehow. I don't know how. We got past over a week of January without mentioning transfers, without doing a direct transfer window video. But that all changes right now, because in this video we are going to look ahead to who Newcastle could sign this January transfer window. We know that we desperately need reinforcements, but we are battling with financial fair play. Even all the injuries we've got, we do need new players. We're going to talk about all of that and some interesting news that's came out today as well. Before we do get into all of that though, here is a gentle reminder. TheMagpieChannel.com for your merchandise. January sale is now live. T-shirts only $14.99. Absolute bargain. And I know what you're thinking. Maybe you're thinking, it's 1 degree outside. Matty, bit cold for a t-shirt. Good job. I put the hoodies on sale as well then, isn't it? $29.99 for your Magpie Channel hoodie. They're nearly sold out, the hoodies. There's not many sizes left. So go and be quick. Get yourselves a bargain before they are gone. I know people have messaged me for requests of certain sizes. So different sizes like double XLs will be back in stock. But your smalls, your mediums, all of them will be gone after, well, however long it takes to sell out. So be quick. Get yourself at themagpiechannel.com. And the white hats, loads of messages about the white hats. They'll be back in the next week or so. And there's about 10 black hats left. And that's it. Then they are gone as well. This is the third batch of hats. You've loved the hats. And I love you for loving them. So thanks very much for supporting the channel. Talking of January sales, buying things, selling things, right? Let's get straight into it. Newcastle United's transfer committee met this week to discuss what to do this January. They wanted to wait until the Sunderland game was out of the way. And obviously all the other stuff, the Carabao Cup and the Champions League. We know where we stand now. We know what we need. And we pretty much know what fixtures we've got left. Obviously the FA Cup draw was last night. We know we've got to travel to Fulham in the 4th round. So, after Man City this weekend, Newcastle have a 2-week break until that Fulham game at Craven Cottage on the 27th of January. So in that period, the Premier League winter break, we are going to really step up our transfer business. Now Dan Ashworth has already been to Saudi Arabia in the last couple of weeks discussing with the PIF over there what we could do this January. And obviously Eddie Howe has his list of targets, but that old financial fair play is what is really hampering us from getting things going. Now, not many teams have made moves yet in the January window. Obviously Tottenham are signing Werner, they're also signing a centre-back. A couple of other things, Sancho meant to be going back to Dortmund, but I think you will see now that the new year, that first week's a bit mad, that's out the way, all the fixtures, the FA Cup, 2 games a week, that's all done now. You will start seeing a lot more transfer business taking place in the next couple of weeks, and that is Newcastle's aim. Now, it came out yesterday, rumours of Sean Longstaff being up for sale. That would increase financial fair play, would get a lot of money for selling an academy product, so that would boost our chances of being able to sign players. It would get him off the wage budget. My understanding that is not the case, and Longstaff is going nowhere. Newcastle are not interested in selling Sean Longstaff, especially now with the injury to Joe Linton. He's definitely missing Man City, and there is fears that he could be missing for another few weeks. Willock is due to come back next month, they're hoping, but again, he's only played a handful of games this season. He has got reoccurring injury problems, just like Joe Linton. Joe Linton's been back and forth, and it's the 3rd time or something he's injured that same muscle group now this season. So there's something to look into there. Obviously Harvey Barnes is a bonus where he could be back in time for that Fulham game at the end of January. So that's a relief. But Newcastle are still very, very late. Now the main target is obviously Calvin Phillips. There's been no secret of that. Newcastle are trying to get talks going with Manchester City over the England international. Newcastle desperately need that number 6, that defensive midfielder. They want to bolster that midfield anyways, with obviously the Sandro Tonali ban massively impacting things. And we know that a player like Phillips, that style, would really help us because he would protect the back four and allow others to express themselves. Bruno would be able to get forward more, and there would be a bit more defensive protection for everyone all round. Because we continuously get caught out in games where teams can just play down the middle of it. We've seen it against Luton, Forest, we've seen it in the Champions League, so it is a problem that needs fixing. However, Man City demanding £7 million for a loan fee is the sticking point. We obviously do not want to pay that. That's a lot of money to pay for someone on loan for 6 months with no obligation or guarantee to buy. So what we're trying to do is negotiate and try and get that down. Now, I think that will happen. I could see us getting Phillips for maybe 3 million, 3.5 million, 4 at a push, and then he's in there and it sorts out. a big piece of our jigsaw. For now anyways, until next summer, we can revisit it. We'll get Tonali back. Obviously, the emergence of Louis Miley's been brilliant this season, but again, a 17-year-old playing all these games, and he's not quite the answer. He's another 8, like everyone else in our midfield, pretty much. So we need that 6. We need a Phillips-style player. And when City are open for offers to get him in on loan, we want to get it done. Juventus have been put off by City's asking price for the loan, so they're out of the race now. They're going to focus on other targets. Liverpool have been linked. A couple of other teams have been linked to him. So Newcastle need to really get in there, because Eddie Howe is a big admirer of Calvin Phillips, and he thinks he would be perfect to slot in to the Toons midfield. So it's one that we're really going to try and do, and it's the most obvious and clear one that we could get done in this January window as well, because the issue for Newcastle is with FFP, we do need to sell players for now, because obviously exiting the Champions League group stages hasn't helped. The bumper Adidas deal, we're not really seeing the benefits of that yet, or any other sponsorships we can bring in, and wherever we finish in the cup runs this year or in the league table. So right now, FFP, this January, it really is going to be loans. We are looking at loans. We might say we spend some money, because last year in every transfer window, we've said the same about money, but then the opportunity arises, like last January, to sign Anthony Gordon for 40 million, and we'll go for it. Didn't really have that in mind, didn't really have the budget, but we thought, you know, it is, take advantage of this opportunity, let's go get him. And we took advantage of Everton not being able to comply with FFP. Now, we've seen this season they've had 10 points deducted, and that was in the pipeline, so they needed to sell players to try and combat that. So that's how we got Gordon for what now looks like a steal. So in this window, Phillips being the main target, try and get him in on loan, and then obviously for me, I think we've got to exploit that Saudi market. We tried so hard, and we fought so hard for this new rule that the Premier League were trying to enforce, where same clubs couldn't loan from their other clubs. So everyone was looking at Newcastle because we're going to get Neves on loan, and then that's got approved. And then if we don't do anything with that, I'd be very surprised, and it would seem like it was all a bit pointless. So surely we are eyeing up players from Saudi now. Neves would be another great one. Obviously, people want Maxi back on loan. I've called for Mitrovic. I'd get Mitrovic back like straight away. Get Mitro on loan. Get him up top. He'll be quality. We need a striker, because it's somewhere where I think, unfortunately, Newcastle probably aren't going to strengthen this January, whereas Mitrovic would be the perfect option for that. If you haven't got the money to go out there and get ideally what I would like a Victor Boniface, then go out and get a Mitrovic. Get Mitrovic on loan, bring him back to Toon, proven Premier League goal scorer, get him in. Get him in to play against Fulham, his old club. He knows Craven Cottage, bang loads of goals in there. Get him in there. It would make so much sense to me, because again, at the minute, we've seen Wilson is injured for a couple of weeks. Then he'll probably come back, and then Isak will take a knock, and he'll be out for a game. And they can never stay fit, can they? The pair of them, and I absolutely love them both. Wilson, I think, is a quality poacher. Isak, I think, is genuinely one of the best strikers in the world. I think he's incredible. But again, his fitness record's been a bit iffy. So we need a striker. What Newcastle are looking at, though, and I see a lot of links, and I get a lot of messages about Serhai Garusi, who's linked with Manchester United as well. He's only got, a 70 million release clause, so that's a bargain itself for the high-flying Bundesliga striker. Issue there being that he's 27, and this is the first time he's really got off the mark. The first time he's really had a really impressive goal-scoring streak. So is he on a purple streak? Is he on an Almiron? Do you know what I mean? He's on a Miggy. So we don't want to, I don't know. I would take him, definitely. I think it's worth a punt. I mean, at 15, 17 million, yeah, no-brainer. It's very little risk, really. But then again, if you're tying down to a contract, he's on good wages, then it could be. So I'm not sure if we would go for that one. There is still, even in 2024, there is still links for Newcastle to sign Hugo Ekitike. Ekitike, who turned us down a couple of seasons ago to join Paris Saint-Germain, well out of favour there. They're willing to listen to offers for him. Newcastle linked to going back in with him for a low move. He's also massively linked to Palace as well, so there is other teams sniffing around him, wanting to get him in on loan, because he was this young French prospect, you know what I mean, hot off the block, and he hasn't had a chance to kick on over there in Paris. So Newcastle thought highly of them. Our scouting team, Eddie Howe, really liked him. They obviously love the fact that he's versatile, can play across the front three, so that would suit us. So when obviously Almiron's not firing, or now that Murphy's, his fitness record this season, he's come back off a long injury, you could play him on the right, you could play him down the middle. So it would be a good option. I was originally in the boat of nah, screw Ekitike. He didn't want to sign for her when the going was tough, so don't give him the chance now. But if it means Ekitike or nothing, I'm taking Ekitike. And also the links to Rafinha as well from Barcelona, very similar to Ekitike at PSG, where he doesn't really get the game time. They want to offload him, they're open offers, get him off the wage bill type of thing. Rafinha would be unbelievable. If we could pull off Rafinha on loan, and even with an option to buy or an obligation to buy in the summer, that would be class. I mean, this was a serious baller at Leeds United. Brazilian, he'd fit right in with the Samba boys, Bruno and Joe Linton, so I would love to see Rafinha at the 2, and that one would be a great signing. And then we've got to look towards the goalkeeper department. Yes, Dubravka played brilliant at Liverpool. That's the first good game he's had though since coming in for Pope. He was pretty hopeless until that spell, and you'd hope now that gives him confidence from Anfield and it gives him that boost and that match sharpness. Obviously he kept a clean sheet against the Mackems as well. Well, it wasn't hard, like anyone could have kept a clean sheet. Didn't threaten at all, did they? You know what I mean? So that's not much to judge off. But Dubravka, I don't know about him as a number 1. I still think we need to strengthen. The thing is, do we go out and sign what I would love to see is like a Mamadishvili, the young Georgian keeper from Valencia. The money it would cost him, don't think that would happen this January. And again, we're like Pope, so Pope's to come back with the focus on other positions. David De Gea is one that's not going away. You know, the David De Gea, people are saying that we are still in talks with him. At the minute, he's on £0 a week, so anything better than that, because I hear a lot of people saying, you know, well, he was on 375 grand a week at Man United, we're never going to pay that. No, we're not. And he would have to accept that. He would have to take a massive pay cut from that, but at the minute his pay isn't out, so it's an improvement, and it gives him a chance to get back in the Premier League and prove a point. So I find it strange that De Gea is still without a club though. I don't think that looks good at all, but De Gea apparently could still be an option this January as well. And if we are going to manage to get away from these loan deals and free agents and actually splash some cash, then like I said earlier, we are going to have to make some sales. Links of Longstaff leaving yesterday, don't think that's true. Other players we could sell, I think it's going to be the fringe players. Listen, your Hendricks, your Haydens, your Frasers that are out on loan. If we could just get rid of them permanently, brilliant. If not, you're looking at the likes of Javi Manquillo, who's still here, and he's never going to get a game when you've got Kraft there and obviously Tino and that now. So I think Manquillo could definitely leave this month. He could be sold, and it's one of them ones where you look around the squad and because of the injuries, there's not much chance. You know, you could have maybe thought of a Matt Ritchie or a Paul Dummett, but they've came in at times this season and played a handful of games and have looked good, especially Dummett in the Cup in the early rounds. So yeah, I would think it would be like your Manquillos and your Hendricks and stuff to try and ship them off permanently. Although, how much is that really going to help financial fair play? Yes, it gets them off the wage structure and everything, so it does help, but not massively in terms of we're not going to be able to sell Javi for a couple of million, 5 million tops, and then go out and spend 40 million on someone. It's not going to help that much. But who knows? Honestly, who knows what could happen? There's loads of twists and turns that I expect in this January transfer window. When things do happen, this is the place to be, so subscribe to the Magpie channel. Any news, there'll be a video straight away on it, letting yous know. Just a quick one as well to finish on. Obviously, like I said, we are going to try and ramp up our transfer business in the upcoming 2-week break from the 14th of January till the 26th. Obviously, a couple of days before our Fulham get training. But 2 weeks before the games take place between City and Fulham, the lads have apparently decided to not go on a warm weather training camp. We've seen in recent years that Eddie Howe's took the side to Dubai and Saudi Arabia. Apparently, they're going to stick to beautiful Benton this January and just get to work on the training ground, because there's been that little of it this season. With all the games, we haven't really been able to work on the pitch that much. So that's what Eddie Howe and the coaching staff are going to do. Get the boys in Benton. I'm sure they'll give the lads a few days off, especially manage to get a good result against Man City on Saturday night. But aye, so in that 2 weeks, expect a lot of transfer rumours to start flying and some movements in and out of Newcastle United. Cheers for watching, everyone. Drop your comments below what you think of the transfer rumours. Who could we sign? Who should we sign? TheMagpieChannel.com for your merchandise. Cheers for watching, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.